What's up? What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to TDPHINSTALK, home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. As you already see, we have one of the greatest on with us today on these beautiful Mondays, Phins 5. What's up, girl? What's going on?
Hi, TD. I'm not one of the greatest, but I'm slowly but surely trying to get there. I'm so excited to be here
You
back
order
on
a
a Monday.
certified copy of your birth certificate?
So let's get to it, man. Phins Mondays back in effect, guys. Welcome.
Awesome, man. I can't wait. I know this is going to be a good one, but I wanted to start the top of this off by letting everybody know we appreciate y'all being with us today. But the hottest topic out with Miami Dolphins right now, I saw an article earlier that was interesting to me. It was about the Miami Dolphins should draft two quarterbacks in this draft, and I want to see what you think about that, Phins. I want to also give some of my personal thoughts. Now, it could be early, it could be one early, one late, too late, just depends. But what's your thoughts on that? Drafting two quarterbacks
Oh
in this
wow,
draft.
man. Listen, to me, it kind of depends. Are they trying to go like the Saints route, like where they take Jalen Hurts and have him be our Taysom Hill, which would be very interesting because he's a great leader. He has a great winning mentality, and him and Tua already played together, so that chemistry is already there. I don't think that would, cause a lot of disruption within the quarterback room because you always have to think about that, especially with young guys and, getting money and getting paid coming up. Everyone wants a fair chance. Everyone wants to know, coming in that, that they have a true chance, an opportunity to take over, especially a team like ours. If you get drafted here, you're thinking like, even if it's not this year, next year, you should be in line to be a starting quarterback and potentially becoming a franchise quarterback, right? So to me, that would be the ultimate scenario. But my thing is like this. I can't, go back on myself. I've been saying get better at the quarterback position. So I'm always here for competition. That's the one thing Tannehill always lacked. We never went into any offseason thinking Matt Moore was going to take over the starting position. So I mean, that just speaks to the culture change that, that they're still implementing. And I'm all for it. But if we're taking Tua with the fifth pick or moving up, however it be, I know everybody has their guy, but let's just say hypothetically, because those are the best odds out there right now, Tua, I can only see
That's
Jalen
the
Hurts.
best. Those are the best odds that we're getting
Yeah,
to.
we're the favorites to draft Tua right now.
And what are those odds looking like in Vegas?
Oh man, we're at minus 150 according to Fox Sports Bet. So
And that sounds like the highest.
For him, yes. To get Burrow, we're second, but I don't know the exact odds on that because I'm pretty sure Cincinnati's going to draft him. But there's also odds on us getting Herbert. I think we are second best to get Herbert right now. So it's not like Vegas is saying it's a sure lock that we're going to get Tua, but it's fairly reasonable and possible that we could actually be this trying to get Herbert like you were talking about last night with the guys. It's interesting.
Well, when we talk about drafting two quarterbacks, though, in this draft, I mean, any names that you would throw out there? Like, say we do go Tua or Herbert at 5, then what?
Oh man, there's so many guys because it's gonna depend like who's dropping late. I don't see us, getting another quarterback maybe until our later round. So I would have to go back and see who's available. That's why Jalen Hurts was ultimately my first option and opinion. Jordan Love will be gone. So unless you're moving back up to get him, I mean, we haven't heard too much on, Fromm and Neeson and those guys, linked to our organization. So to me, if they're really saying that, then that to me is the only reasonable option. I don't see you bringing in two pocket quarterbacks, especially if you really do want to bring in competition, you could possibly get one next year where it's a much better quarterback draft behind after, let's say after Love, if people on their, big board, they're all projects. It's going to take years to develop them. Now, maybe they're doing that within the mindset of a security blanket in case Tua gets hurt. So that might be their mindset as like their own like insurance. So if we get a guy now and we start develop him, God forbid something happens to the guy who you were going to invest your future with, and now you're looking like, oh my gosh, what did we do? We took Tua so high, but there's no back, there's no plan B for him. And to me, that only speaks to Rosen and Ruddock. Because if you're going to bring in those guys, well, the room is only but so big. And, we saw it when we were trying to figure out who's going to be here on our roster. And we were like making it like it was so hard to make those cuts for so many players who, played well last year for us. So we have to really, really, really figure this thing out. I don't think it's too plausible, though, that we're going to draft 2 quarterbacks. And if we do, it's going to be late. It's going to be a very late round guy. Just something to shake up the atmosphere, just to keep everybody on their toes.
Yeah, I don't see. That's how I feel. I don't think that we'll draft 2 quarterbacks, but I can't dismiss that notion because at the end of the day, we know that we're possibly going to be getting one early in this draft.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we're not going to be getting a quarterback in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, bringing in that project guy. And I know a lot of people will say, well, if we draft them, what are we going to do? Or, we have all these quarterbacks. Then, it's going to determine on who's going to make it to the practice squad or who's even going to make the roster. But I like the thought of it because it gives no one an easy road. It gives no one an easy road in this game because right now Fitzpatrick knows, hey, I got the job. I'm going to be on this roster. It is what it is. And then you have guys like Rosen on the roster for like $2 million. Okay, I'm a draft pick. I'm guaranteed money. I should be on this roster unless I get traded or something of that nature. And then you have Jake Ruddock. And by the way, I guess this is a good time to plug it. I have just so you all know, starting tonight, because I'm going to be doing a show tonight, we're going to be actually diving deep into the Miami Dolphins team. We're going to be talking about every single position, every single player at the position. And so every single position, every single player at the position who's currently on the roster, even if we know we won't make it, because if you really want to educate yourself on a team, you're going to want to tune into this series because it's probably going to go on for about a week and a half to 2 weeks right up until the draft. I've done a lot of analysis and breakdown of a lot of players. The first one we're going to do right off the back is quarterback. And as you all know, we got Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Rosen, and Jake Ruddock on this roster. I'm going to go ahead and give you the real take on all 3 of these players. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all these perceptions that have been put out here recently about many of these players. And we're going to dig down to the facts so we can stop going back and forth and saying things out of our mouth that just aren't true, including myself. So y'all stay tuned for that. So the first one will be tonight. That's going to be on the quarterbacks. I will be live doing these shows, and you'll be able to see everything I see. I did breakdowns. I have a presentation for you all. So get ready for it because after we evaluate every position and every player at the position, it's going to tell us if we need additional or if we don't need additional and what the futures for these players look like. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks going into the draft. That way we'll have a better sense of what we need and what we don't need on this roster. But but Phins.sanity, I'm more so back on the getting the guy 5th, 6th, 7th round. I really like that idea, especially with all these draft picks. But again, everyone says we're not drafting all these picks. But in the event that we do, I could see us actually bringing in another quarterback just so no one on this roster can feel easy about where we are because we got 5 guys competing and no one's job is safe at that point.
So who's your odd man out then, TD?
We wouldn't know, but it's just creating. It's only the purpose of drafting the additional guys is to create the competition at camp, and they're going to determine who's the odd guy out because nobody's untouchable. We can even cut Fitzpatrick if we want. Yeah, we'll eat $4 million, but he won't get the $8 million that he's due this year. See, a lot of people don't realize that too. He did sign a 2-year, $11 million deal, but at the same token, it wasn't broke up as 5.5 and 5.5. Plus, it was bonus. It was incentives in his deal. So this year, his base salary is actually $8 million. Many people don't know that. Last year, his base salary was $1.5 million with a whole bunch of incentives as well. So the way that is set up, nobody's safe on this roster. We can cut whoever we want and don't feel bad about it. The worst hit that we could take by cutting a player is Fitzpatrick. and that'll be just eating $4 million of dead cap. And I know just $4 million of dead cap ain't a small number, but it's not as big as cuts that we've made on dead cap. So people need to keep that in mind as well. And that way we can get better at the position, and whoever earns it actually earns it. And that's my take on it. TD, so draft is still happening on time, but virtual. I reported that yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. I know I did get the breaking news just now. Commissioner Roger Goodell just got reports from ESPN, Commissioner Roger Goodell, how the draft will operate from teams' homes, no neutral site. We already knew that yesterday after what the president basically said. We knew Goodell would come out and basically give some information like this. So the draft is still on, and we'll see how that works out. But I'm interested in Phins. I want to go a little bit more into Vegas, because I know we have some information on what they think, all the early projections. And when we say Vegas, guys, some people they want to gamble. Some people don't gamble. They just look at the lines to determine, what the betting world is saying. So could you give us some insight on what's being said out there in the betting world? Because when people put money behind it, sometimes they have information to justify it. So what's going on out there?
All right. So the most interesting thing that I saw was our over under for total wins right now. Let's specify that right now they have us at exactly 6, not 6.5.
6 flat?
Not just 6 flat. So if you bet over and under and we hit just 6 wins, that's an automatic push. So
pause. So you mean to tell me Vegas said after the improvements that we've made on defense,
correct,
and offense, some would add with the running back and a left guard, they have us improved by 1 game? Or does that have more to do with the difficulty of schedule?
It has to do definitely with your opponents and, where we'll be playing at specifically. So I went back because I was 5 over. I remember a couple streams ago, me and Reason and we looked at the schedule and we were saying teams who we thought we were going to beat. So I went back and I was like, okay. I went back and I was like, okay, so what teams do I think are like 100% sure locks? And you guys can go ahead and tell me who you think. Go look at the schedule. But I have Denver, Jacksonville, home at New England, home at the Jets, Cincinnati, and Las Vegas. Okay. 6 wins.
Go through those one more time. What's the first one?
At Denver. At Jacksonville.
Denver.
Yes, at Jacksonville.
Road.
Home against New England, home against the Jets, home against Cincinnati, and at Las Vegas.
Home against Cincinnati. And at Las Vegas. See, and you have those as the guaranteed wins.
I have those as the most likely ones.
The most likely.
Yeah. Because, we kind of said it. You feel me? Like, Arizona's a toss-up because they've gotten better offensively, correct? And will be out there. Buffalo is no slouch of a team. They've brought in, a wide receiver, a true number 1 guy, what they haven't had in recent years. And how competitive have we really been against Buffalo in recent years, right? At Jets, we saw what a debacle that was. When we were up there last year. Kansas City, I don't think any one of us are going to be like, anything can happen after the draft, depending on what our roster looks like. The Rams, that one I was really struggling with because I'm like, well, they don't have a running game, but I'm like, but they still have all those wide receivers. But I'm like, man, we have a secondary. But if I had to cut one and take one for an L, home against the Rams, it's very much possible. We seem to do. I think we will do okay with our passing defense, but like I said, who do I swap out the Rams with? Out of the teams, do I say we lose to New England but beat the Rams? So I had to pick the 6 most likely. And right now, if anyone, as a fan, I'm pretty sure they're looking at our schedule and trying to think, can we take the over? Or are we going to hit that 6 exactly? And
what do you think?
What? What?
Should we take the over, the under, the tie? What do you think?
Right now it doesn't matter because if we get 6, it won't matter. But I truly believe we will hit over. I could see us going 7-9 easily.
If you had to walk into a casino in Vegas and throw your bag down with all your money in it. What are you gonna say? Are you saying that we're winning more than 6 games? Or, and this is your money we talking about. We're gonna win more than 6 games, we're gonna win less, or we're gonna win 6.
Man, listen, the first thing I was looking at was that Chargers game because it's a home game. And I really believe that right now, with the roster that they have, we can compete against them. I just want to know who their starting quarterback is going to be. Is it going to be Tyrod Taylor, or are they going to bring in someone else? I hear a lot of things about Cam Newton possibly being signed there, and that will make that game highly interesting, much more interesting. So, but I believe that we can definitely get over 6. I mean, it seems like we always go over. I mean, think about it last year. We were at, what, 4.5 as our line, and I'm pretty sure no one going into week 17 thought we were going to beat the Patriots. Everyone who bet the under were probably sitting there very happy, ready to go back and cash in their ticket. And everybody who took the over were sitting there like, man, listen, I need a miracle today. They was probably praying to everyone they knew, everyone they could. And when that pass went to Gesicki in the end zone, I feel like they felt a weight of load lifting off of them, because I don't know. I really do think, though, because our roster will be improved, but people have to think about it. After the draft and after people start betting on this number will move. So it's very interesting. It's like, do you go take the over 6 now and possibly there not be a season and you have to wait to get your money back from Vegas? Or because you don't know if they're going to delay it. So you could be sitting with money that you thought you were going to be recuperating back, waiting for months.
But yeah, we know it's going to change. It's going to change, especially after the draft. I mean, these projections are going to change massively. But that's why I also love it right before the draft. It tells you the team that you built right now, before you add this young talent, this is what they say the games that you're going to win. Now, I still didn't get your answer. Are you betting your money on more than 6, at 6, or lower than 6?
I don't know if I would probably have to call Vegas to get just 6. I don't know if the odds are on that. You normally take over or under. But I would take over.
Over, okay.
I really feel like our defense can pull out some of these games that may look a little bit shaky. The Jets game after Jets is going to be very interesting. I feel like we really will be able to pull that one off. It was close last year. Like, let's not forget, it was very close with all the field goals that we kicked. Somehow, some way, we were still in that game, going into the last drive. So maybe a little bit more discipline on the referee side, because I won't get fined for, commenting on the referees and throwing that flag on Needham. But a little bit more discipline on their side, and we definitely hit over it. Right now, just take the over. If you're going to do it at 6, it's more likely than not, unless we have a catastrophic injuries that's just going to derail the team. I don't see how with this defense, they don't pull out some of these games for us. Oh yeah, we are going to struggle early, but see, Mr. Ball Game, it's going to also be where the games are played and like the order, like how much are we on the road? Like, because we're going back to the West Coast now. I think we're going to the West Coast once. Yeah. Well, we're going to the West Coast and then the Midwest like twice.
Well, you mind if I give a quick breakdown of what I think in this 6-game thing? If we shock the world, we're going 14-2. If we ball out in jail from the get-go, but it's not shock the world, we're going 11-5. Okay?
You think so?
And if we play at expectation, what we should be playing, we're going 10-6. If we play below expectation, we're going 7-9. And let me tell you why playing at expectation 10-6 is more likely. Okay. And I'm gonna be honest. Oh man, I can't believe I'm gonna say this. Playing below expectations is more likely than playing at expectation. I hope we play at the expectations that I have, which is 10-6 based off of the roster we have right now. I hope that's what we do. If we get things gelling and these guys playing together, it will be 10-6. But the issue is, and I read that Ball Game made this point, which is a great point. The reason why I think that we could win as little as 7 games on that much of the low side, because we do have to account for that gelling period. That because we have to remember, I don't think that we're going to have the same training camps of the past. Large groups can't gather, this and that. This thing might stretch out even further. It might stretch out even further. So it could be a tough start for the Miami Dolphins. 1-3, 0-2, 0-3. I mean, it just depends on how the schedule is laid out and what teams are on what date, like you said.
Right.
But we could take a really hard hit early on and start out 0-3. Then we only have 13 games left. Right. And in those 13 games, we can literally go 7-6, which is good for where we are now. 7-6 is good, but that gives you an ending season of 7-9. You know, we can actually start to play better, lose a few tight games or whatever it may be. But again, if this team is gelling, and that is a huge if, like somebody said, if this team is gelling day one, and if we're hitting the ground running, I'm telling you, we could be 10-6 this season. And one of the main reasons, if you look at what we did last year with 5 wins, and many of you know that we could have added 2 with the roster of last year easily with just a few better decisions or making the play at the end of the game or not getting robbed by the ref too with that need and pass interference. That's just my opinion. But literally, if we come out the gate gelling, we can win 10 games. And when y'all watch this series tonight, we're going to talk about Ryan Fitzpatrick, because a lot of us are so wrong. We're so wrong about Ryan Fitzpatrick, and y'all going to get the breakdown from me tonight. We are so wrong about this miraculous season with the more defined game that he had. I mean, no, we're wrong. We're wrong, and you're going to know why tonight when I go through that series. And you're going to see why we actually improved so well last year. I'm going to talk about that as well. And when you look at the team we have now, the area that we improved last year got so much better, which is going to equate to more wins alone. And I can't wait to talk about that tonight, but I'm telling you guys, go ahead. You said something?
No, go ahead.
I am telling you guys that we can win 10 games next season. And it's not a far fetch as people think. It really isn't. This man actually has the personnel, a large amount of the personnel he wanted all this time. People don't realize the defense is so close to having a completed check mark on it. This defense is going to help us win 7 to 8 games alone. And with Fitzmagic in the game, he has the ability to put 3 of them on his back alone. But hey, time will tell, obviously.
Which 3?
I mean, what's that?
Which 3?
Which 3 games?
Yeah, which 3 games?
Listen, I cannot. It's Ryan Fitzpatrick. None of us know which 3 games. And that's the point. That's who Ryan Fitzpatrick is. It can be the best team that we play next season that he sparks off a miracle. Isn't that how he's gotten his living, just sparking off like these Fitzmagic moments against good teams here and there? I mean, so we stretch. It could be
a stretch.
Hey, but as long as it's in the spectrum of possibility, that's the only thing that matters. It can be a stretch.
I don't hate
as long as it's in the spectrum, as long as it's in the spectrum of possibilities, it's not. It can stretch all. It can stretch all as one. This is Fitzmagic we're talking about. The guy who EM after 2 throws said that he needed to be the franchise quarterback. So we'll see how that goes.
I don't think EM thinks that he should be our franchise quarterback. I think EM feels that for this season, going like just bridging, he's what we should have as our bridge until next year. Within next year, whoever we draft this year should be our starter. That's all he's saying.
I agree with that, but he's also arguing the fact that why do we need to get better at the position? And we'll talk about that tonight as well, because Fitzpatrick ain't no more well-defined guy. After I've done all my research, I am going to show you why he is not this much better, well-defined player. He's not. He's now we nope. Let me stop. He's not. I'm not even. I'm not
you
even
gotta
about
tune in
to.
tonight.
I'm not even about to reason with. Well, I saw better ways that he did this and that. He ain't. Nope. If you go look at history, nope. And I'm gonna break it down tonight when I go through all three quarterbacks on this roster, man. It's interesting what I found. It's interesting what I found. Ain't nothing. Basically, and I'm telling you what it is, and I'm gonna prove it tonight. Ain't nothing changed with him. Ain't nothing was more defined this year.
You know what, TD? And
he plays the way he plays.
You know what's really interesting?
He plays the way he plays, man.
You want to know what's even more interesting, right? So I went and I found every single odd you can get related to the Dolphins. It's literally all here. So if you guys want to know something, I can tell you if it's out there or not, right? You know, there's an odd that you can bet on Devontae Parker being the offensive player of the year, but you cannot for Fitz. That to me is very interesting because that's a quarterback award. So that to me speaks a lot more volumes about how they feel about the Fitz Parker dynamic. If you're saying Parker has even like it's bad odds. I wouldn't even take it. It's 8-1 for those who understand it that way, but it's plus 8,000. You lay down $100 to win 8,000, and somehow Devontae Parker breaks out and just beats everyone. But it's a quarterback award, so you should not do it. I'm just going to say that now. But there's not even odds for your quarterback, the guy who's going to be throwing him the ball. Wow, that's all I have to say to that when it comes to Fitzpatrick. Like there is not a single odd I could find on Fitzpatrick. Not total passing yards, not total passing TDs, not comeback player of the year, nothing. And if anyone can find one, please send it to me so I can take the opposite side of it and go ahead and make some money because it's crazy. But TD, back to your point of 10 wins. Do you know what the odds are for us making the playoffs? You think they're favorable or not?
Of course they're not.
It's more likely that we won't make the playoffs than we will. So how do you feel about that in regards? Because you're saying 10 wins. And
wait, what did you say they said? The odds are?
It's minus 700 that we won't. So you have to lay down $700
just
to win 100.
They
so
haters.
It's more likely that we won't.
They some haters.
Vegas has always hated on us. Vegas has always hated on us. The world has always hated on us. Really look at it. It goes back to them not trusting who's underneath center. Anyway, we're not gonna do that. But it's plus 475 that we will. So I mean, if by some random chance we sneak in with the seventh spot, someone can cash in, a nice little, $500. But how do you feel about that with your regards to that we can get 10 wins?
First of all, Vegas is our haters as they've always been. Making the playoffs plus 400 and what? It's plus 400 and what? 475. Man, listen. 475. If I was that kind of betting man on the regular, I literally would take that because we making the playoffs this year. I believe we are. I think the defense is going to carry us there.
As a fan?
I think I'm talking real talk, man, what I believe, because people underestimate this defense. Now, don't get me wrong. That's why real talk, we can make it. Real talk, I think that I don't know. We're going to determine, like Brian Flores is going to show his ultimate value this year as well. See, we know he showed great value last year. Coming out of the gate, exceeding expectations with the minuscule roster, one that he purged himself and still got the results that he got. We love, we appreciate, we got your back now, But this year, how good are you? That's what you do. That's what you get more determination, because if we win 10 games, you feel different about Brian Flores than winning 7 and saying that was about right. You can't get mad at him. That's a good thing. So if I'm to live down the road that a lot of people are living down, 7 games is about what we'll win. Then if he achieves that, then hey, it still looks good from the coaching front. But how good are you? Can you spark off 9 or 10? And if that happens, we all will feel even higher on him. So I'm banking on him. Everybody's looking at the roster and saying, no, 7 is right. I'm not evaluating it just off the roster. It's a major piece, but Flores is a big chunk of my factor. He's a big, because if he could get 5 when we were supposed to get 1, and just like Mike Pellegrino just said, I'm delusional for thinking what I'm thinking, and now I got to jab back Mr. Pellegrino, because you were one of the main ones all last season around this time, every day, every week, in the comment section saying we're winning 0-2 games. Every single stream we had, you were vocal, and I told people don't mute you, don't time out you, because you're the one negative Nancy that you and one more that we accept and we love. But you were one of the main ones over and over and over saying we won't win more than 2 games. Oh, wow. So please forgive me if I'm not taking your assessment, which states that I'm delusional for thinking that we can win 10. Because you were wrong, my sir, last year, okay?
Oh, man.
Not true, TD. I said 4-10. Who has a range between 4 to 10? Man, that don't even sound right, Mike. Who has a range between 4 to 10? You might well even guess. Yeah, I said 4 to 10, man. Come on.
Let Mike be great.
Man, I'm getting on Mike. Listen, Mike get on me every day. I could get on Mike a few times.
But to me, that's very interesting, because if you think about who the wild card contenders are going to be this year, we're not facing any of them. So we won't have any head-to-head matchup. I mean, unless the Chargers, somehow emerge where we don't think they're going to be, abysmal mess. We're not yet. England, I mean, that's going to play out with that, but no one else. So it's really going to come down to our conference record. Down to our conference record, most of that comes against the AFC West. So now you're Denver, Kansas City, and Las Vegas. I don't think is in the hunt unless Josh Jacobs rebirths himself from that injury. But I mean, everyone after what he did last year as a rookie, Denver will be. But I just feel like they're going to get wiped out within their division. So, sorry, not sorry. Jacksonville, we already know what they are. Unless Minshew Mania comes back, we're not really too worried about them. And then, I don't know. Chargers, like I said, it comes down to who their quarterback is. So, it's going to be very interesting. But I want to get your opinion on one last odd that, to me, I really need to know. Even after everything that we've done, somehow, some way, we still have the 4th best odds to win the AFC East. How do you feel about that?
All right, let me be 100% truthful here. Obviously, I don't like it. I think it's a bunch of crap. But at the same token, nothing's going to be given to the Miami Dolphins. We can be excited about the things that we did last year and the trajectory that we hope that we started, but at the end of the day, nothing will be given. So I'm not as surprised as I guess I made it seem, because we have to go out there and show them. We have to go out there and earn it. The Jets, they thinking that, well, maybe it was just an anomaly season, which we all know it wasn't, because Adam Gase is there. They're going to continue to suck. But at the same token, they're looking at that as they have a lot of talent. Maybe it was just an anomaly and it's time for them to rock and roll. They'll be much better this year. And the Dolphins still have a lot of holes that they still need to figure out. In Buffalo, of course, I mean, they're on the upside. They went to the playoffs, them and New England. You don't go from being a playoff team to the assumption that you're automatically going to be the worst in the division. So they're going to automatically use the factor of what have you done for me lately for those 2 teams, which puts them above us regardless. And us, we're from the bottom. We're from the very bottom. Neither of these teams are coming from the very bottom last year. We're coming from the very bottom on our way up. Just because you had some semblance of success last year means nothing to this league, the bettors, and everything around the world, because you got to come out 2 years in a row and put it together and get better. And that's what we're going to have to do. So Y'all gonna hate me for saying this, but us being number 4 in the division right now is rightfully so. But not because I believe that it's accurate. It's that we have to prove that it's not accurate before it changes. Now, when this draft comes, I can see them possibly, depending on how the Jets draft, putting us 3rd in the division after this draft. But again, I mean, 3rd is just as good as 4th, if you ask me. So at the end of the day, we will not leapfrog Buffalo nor New England until we go out and prove it. And we will. We will grow out and prove it. That's why I say we will get the 10, 11 wins, and we're gonna play some good football. We have football players on this team. Although we have to gel, I think that we have some of the smarter. We have smart players on this roster, and shame on me, but I have to be honest with y'all and tell y'all the truth about something with me. I'm not even thinking about the offense. I'm not even caring to think about the offense, because until we get certain pieces that make us feel good about addressing that O-line, I don't care. Fitzpatrick, go work some magic, make us feel good for a few games. I'm happy for, but right now the only thing that's tangible is the defense.
Right.
And that's right in front of us. We got it. Of course, we can get 2 more pieces to make it really, really great, But at the same token, we have some tangible pieces where we can go to war right now and play some good football. And it's definitely a better defensive roster and team that we had late in the season last year, because that's the true reason why we turned it around last year. The ultimate true reason why we turned it around last year was solely the defense. The same defense that gave the offense more opportunities. The same defense that started to give the offense a few turnovers. The same defense that didn't allow the time of possession to be wacko. So automatically when a defense does those things, offenses improve automatically.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that tonight, because that's why I don't think we'll talk about that tonight. Our defense is better than it was, and it played some good football late. Now I believe more consistently and longer this year coming up, we'll play better defense throughout the season. We won't have that. Even if we lose to Baltimore, they're not putting freaking 60 points on us. Patriots not putting 50-something points up on us. Give me a 31-20, not no 60-3 or whatever it was, man. I don't even want to remember. But you see what I'm saying? So those close games that we lost in the 4th quarter, they're not actually happening. We're leading in the 4th quarter. Even if we still lose the game, we're in so much better positions and so many better opportunities this year from a defensive standpoint. Even though they don't have the time to gel, we got smart players. You think a player like Van Noy needs as much time as a Baker to gel with other players? You think players like Byron Jones needs as much time as, certain other players to gel? Of course, we're going to need time to put it all together and work cohesively. But the guys that we have are football smart. They play multiple positions, so they know the interchangeable pieces and what they do. So that gel process should be so much quicker. And that's what I'm relying on. A defense that's got us. We got 12 points in the 4th quarter, but we're still in the game. That kind of defense, and that alone, the defense alone is going to rattle us off another 3 games, in my opinion. Just the upgrades that we just did. 3 more games for the defense that we have now, in my opinion. And that takes us to 8. And then Fitzmagic, do you and get us another 2. Do you and get us another 2. And you know what? Let me jump on the Mr. Ballgame bandwagon. Fitzpatrick, don't do you to get us another 2. Throw it up so Devontae can do him so we can get another 2. And that's real. Right. I mean, we can argue that all we want, but listen, man, we'll talk about that tonight. We'll go deeper into that tonight, man. I got the facts at least, all right? But that's my thoughts on it.
So 10-6, that's your
Why not?
That's your low.
Why not?
No. I have a question to follow with that. Where does that put us in the AFC East?
That puts us in a wild card.
I said in the AFC East, so we're second.
I mean, Buffalo's still poised to win 11 or 12 games potentially this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that if we do our part
Mm-hmm.
and we beat them and we do our part, then that narrative changes. They're somewhat right there with us, 10-6 or 11-5. But overall, I think that they still may have what it takes to get that nod to win the East.
Right.
But Miami can win it, man. It just depends on that Flores factor, how he got this team playing early. I ain't worrying about later. I know the trajectory is going to go up. But the first 4 games, how did he have us playing? Did we at least survive it at 2-2? 2-2 is a huge victory to start out the first 4 games. But 1-3, here's the rough start that we feared, and we can't blame them for it.
Oh man, listen, but it's going to be very interesting. Even if they play this season without fans, it's going to be very interesting if they make the team still go to England and to Mexico, because now we're looking at potentially another real home game. Because if you go out and play at in England and there's no fans out there, it's really a neutral site. It just depends. Everyone out there.
The NFL shouldn't be wanting to do that right now. Even when this thing blows over, we have to act like it's not blown over. No. I mean, we got to protect this brand, because we can't be out there taking unnecessary risks and then we don't have football again.
Right.
Because if the active season started and one player gets it after the fact, we're probably back in shutdown.
Yeah, it's shutting down.
We're probably, because you can't have one. I don't care if nobody else in the league is affected and one player on an organization is infected, that whole organization just shut down. So we have to make sure that we're doing what we can to protect the personnel, the employees, every single aspect of the game. So I think that even right now they should go ahead and make the decision so that they can prepare for it structurally and logistically, and have those teams have those home games at their home stadium. Games across overseas and in other countries are canceled. It's a bad move to not even know that you need to do that now.
Right. So
my take.
Well, TD, it was absolutely fun. I hope you guys absolutely enjoyed this. TD.
Yes.
We have what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks?
What's the countdown? 17 days. So 2.5 weeks. It's counting down. We're about to be there, y'all. We're about to be there. This is going to be an exciting draft night. It's going to be a party, man. It's going to be a party, man. Man, I can't wait. I can wait, but I can't wait. It's just, answers. Sometimes, oh my God. Sometimes you want to prolong the answer because, no, we should be excited no matter what almost. We should be excited no matter what happens in this draft. We should be excited because if you have that ultimate thought process in Flores and Greer we trust, then we all should be excited no matter what picks are made. So we'll see. I'm excited for it, man. I hope you are.
Oh, man. You know what? I can't wait to see how they do this. And I'm, listen, it's about, to me right now, what we do with that 5th pick. That's what I need to know. Once that's done, I think I'll be a lot more relaxed. Like, I'll be just waiting for the next picks to come in, but I'm the most anxious about the 5th overall pick, because when's the last time you've picked in the top 5 realistically?
Well, the way I look at that as far as the top 5 is, no matter who we pick there, it's almost impossible to go wrong. Whoever you pick at 5 is going to help your franchise. And I think that's an obvious. You can't go wrong. I don't care if it was Herbert or Love. It's still a guy who you feel like is going to become the starter, hopefully. And they're going to get that real shot, that real tryout. So no matter what happens at 5, I think even if we don't go QB, we go a tackle or a nose, it doesn't matter. We're going to get a good player. Right. So we have to remember that. But the biggest pick that I'm worried about is 18. That's where it gets a little complicated. You got great players that you, from a positional standpoint, don't need, but they're great. Or do you take the need that isn't as good as the value of that pick? Right. That's where it starts to get tricky. The 18th pick is is it's a sign to me, you know, what direction we go right there at 18. The player, you know, if we go nose tackle at 18, that tells you right there they wanted to finish the defense. Anything on the defense at 18 shows you they have a clear priority of fixing the defense first, even if we got the QB at 5. If we go offensive tackle, okay, they feel very confident about the defense at this point, and they'll make it better as they go. But now it's time to focus on the offense. That'll be that shift. So 18 is the vital pick that kind of tells me the trajectory of where we're going. 5 can be that too, but if you get a quarterback, it's harder to tell the trajectory. 18 is going to tell you. And excuse me, I hope that we go safety, nose tackle, offensive tackle at that pick. One of those, safety, nose tackle, or offensive tackle. Okay. I really do hope that that's what we do at 18. What are you thinking at 18?
At 18? Oh man. Yeah, give me offensive line help, because hopefully, depending on if Simmons is on the board at 5. Let me be very clear about this. If Simmons is on the board at number 5 and we're picking, I want Isaiah Simmons at all costs if he's there. I mean, even if it means we lose out on a chance or two, and I know a lot of you are going to hate me for this, but I just love that kid. I love that prospect and what he's going to be able to do for our defense, you know, for years to come. It is going to be amazing, and it will be worth it. Okay? Like something like this is not going to come around just like that. You feel me?
I would semi-cry, which means you won't see tears, but deep down inside, I'm emotional that my team is getting it right. That's how I would feel. I like legitimately. I ain't trying to sell it to the point of TD's emotional about his team. No, I would semi like, yeah, we getting it right, man.
If Simmons is there at 5, I want Simmons. I will not be mad. I will not be irate, and I will go get that young man's jersey because he will be starting week 1. Yes. Okay. But if he is not there, then oh my gosh, I guess we can go get a quarterback at that point and make a lot of people happy. But at 18, yeah, you gotta go, you know, hopefully one of the top guys are still there, one of the, you know, better tackles are still there, and we can get one of those guys. Like we said, we'll be able to get a safety, you know, in that late round. We'll be able to get a running back. I mean, I'm very interested to see what running back we bring in. That right there is going to be very interesting, because we actually have the best odds to draft DeAndre Swift, and he's seen as the first running back coming off the board. So to me, it's like we have the pick of the litter. Whoever they're the highest on, whoever they're in love with the most, that's the running back that they're going to pick.
Let me tell you something about that, though. Here's what I'm starting to think. I don't even think we getting running back in the first round. Let me tell you why I feel that way. Just because we brought in certain players that are projected in the late first round, that's where that narrative keeps coming from. And I actually presented that narrative myself because it's one to look out for. But when you look at all the holes on the team, you cannot tell me right now that a running back at 26 is more important than a tackle or a center at 26. And because we brought in a running back, and the coaching staff, whether we all believe it or not, which I do, but some people don't, they believe in Balaj, and Laird as a third back showed some really good promise.
Right.
And they still brought in even more players. It's not a position of dire need. I understand that when you look at our numbers last year, we had to get better at the position, but we have to look at why we weren't good at the position in the first place. Right. It wasn't the person, it wasn't the actual running backs. Yeah. It was the lanes that was created for him. It was getting stuffed in the backfield. It was totally different reasons. So I think that they're interviewing all those top guys because if one of them slides to the second round, we'll be able to have our background and say, hey, let's go ahead and grab the kid. I'm starting to get off of this whole possibility of running back at the 26. And again, I could be wrong. They can go with the running back because they see something. But when I look at the needs of this team and from a priority standpoint, there's no way that we go 26 for a running back when we just brought in a starting caliber running back, and Balaj is still a good serviceable backup if that role is if he's relocated to that role at that point. So
that's interesting because right now Vegas has Jordan Howard for total rushing yards over under 799.5. So they're already seeing him as our starting running back. But I mean, things change after the draft. So TD, we got a lot to deal with in the next 17 days. There's going to be a lot of questions. Does anyone have any last questions before we go? We can take like 2 or 3.
Yeah, put them in the comment section because we got another 10 minutes. Let me put it down here. If you have any questions for the panel, ask now. If it's good, it will be posted.
It will be posted. Boom.
Yes.
So
there go Poseidon said Balaj is trash. We're gonna see this year,
Man.
We need a safety. And that's where I am, Phins. Listen, these are the positions that I'm good with in the first round.
Okay.
Simmons, I ain't even say a position, I just said Simmons.
All right.
Nose tackle, safety, and offensive lineman, I don't care which one. Those are your priorities in the first and the second round. Okay. You want to get the best value that you possibly can with those positions in those early rounds to basically round this team out. So fill up holes that you don't want to go in the next season feeling like your scheme has to cover it. No, make the guy honest of doing his job,
I think Gaskins might be a sleeper to emerge this year.
If it depends on how they view him after his injury.
Yeah, but I think he can come in and compete. I loved what he did in college, so it'll be very interesting to see. But
we're deep at a lot of positions that people don't realize. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, guys, we got like 9 or 10 cornerbacks on this roster right now. Nobody's talking about that either. Literally. Okay, so
Lakers all day put if we get Simmons and Love, how would y'all feel? Great.
That means we got Love at 18. Come on, gosh, that would be beautiful.
Right.
That would be beautiful. And now you go ahead and get your tackle at 26 if you can. You get your tackle at 26. That would be beautiful, man. So because you'd have Simmons and you'll address the quarterback position. Again, we're not looking for the kid to start. We're looking for him to let us know in training camp that he's better than Fitz. And maybe they do start him. Or maybe they say we're still going to hold him. And that's another good question. I know this goes off. So if we draft a Herbert or Love and they beat Fitz out in training camp,
they will.
Do we start? And they should, but do they start? Do they start? That's a key question because and you know what? Go ahead, and then I'll say what I'm saying.
With the defense that we're gonna have, I feel like there'll be an opportune situations. I think they're just gonna have to have the mindset. Don't do too much. And if this running game, our running game is at. If our running game is going to be trash, then heck no, do not throw them out there. But if you're going to have a competent running game where you can put them in play action scenarios, then go ahead. Let them go out there and have some fun. Let them be young. With a defense and a running game, it can do a lot for you. Look at what Russell Wilson was able to do with Marshawn Lynch and the Legion of Boom. It is possible, guys, because you're not putting so much on them. When they have all that pressure of I have to do it myself, that's when mistakes are being made. But if you're able to move the ball and put them in maybe 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 2s, even 3rd and 4 at worst, correct? Then they're not just tuck it right down to Parker. Hit Albert Wilson on a quick slant real quick. Comeback routes. It's not like you're asking them to go down there and throw the ball 50 yards. You can let them, play with what's in front of them and what they can truly honestly see, where they're not worried about is that safety going to come over across the top and pick that ball off. Just put them in great situations, and that's how I feel.
That's what's interesting to me. And somebody just asked, why do you guys assume they will beat out Fitz? Well, first off, whoever we bring in to be our future quarterback, they better beat him out. You got to at least be better than the journeyman to anchor the franchise for years to come. I mean, come on. What is the person supposed to sit behind Fitz for 1 year and still don't be better? They have to beat out Fitz or it's a failure. That's why I love having Fitz on this roster. He is a very good gauge. If you're not better than him, you don't belong. If you're better than him, then you belong because he's just good enough to belong. So our future quarterback needs to be either Fitz or better. They have to be. Otherwise, we lost. If the coaching staff doesn't feel like in training camp this guy is better than Fitz, and I understand Fitz is a 15-year pro, though, TD, and he has more of this and that. I'm sorry. We need to bring in somebody who has it now. That's the whole point of it all. Outside of that, you're a developmental piece, and we still don't have our quarterback for the future. We just got a developmental piece that we're hoping is our quarterback for the future, which is no difference than Josh Rosen. It's no difference. So if we're going to draft a quarterback in this first round, we're talking about a first-round pick, ladies and gentlemen. If we're going to draft a quarterback in this first round, the expectation is that he be better than Fitz. Period. Outside of that, what are we doing? Go get Simmons. Go get so many others. What are we doing here? He has to be. If we get Tua Tagovailoa, he has to be better than Fitz, and he should be.
Oh, Tua. I would love to hear Ian's opinion on that. If Tua's better than Fitz,
man, of course he goes. Well, I mean, he should be. That's my whole point. I don't care about 15 years versus rookie coming in. That's like saying Fitzpatrick 15 years and Patrick Mahomes just a few. The years. Listen, this is big boy league. This is the NFL. At the quarterback position, you either say they're developmental, and if they are, they get all the passes in the world, and we can make those excuses. Mm-hmm. But if we're sitting here talking about drafting a guy in the first round, hey, why are we drafting developmental at number 5? What are we doing? What are we doing? There's too many non-developmental players at other positions.
I think the only advantage that Fitz will have is that he's had the playbook longer, and he'll have the verbiage much more.
Same thing he had over Josh Rosen this time.
Right, and the young guys aren't going to be able to get all that work in with the offensive coordinator and the QB coach. It's right now we're looking at first time they might see him or really be able to interact with them could possibly be training camp, and that's not a what's your name. So probably 9 times out of 10 they won't be starting, but it'll be very interesting. A lot of us felt very positive about Rosen and how he played in preseason. But let's be honest, Rosen had to play some tough teams during that stretch, barring the Redskins.
Well, don't worry, we're gonna break it down tonight.
Barring the Redskins,
because he went through the same thing
when
Fitz
Fitz came on, it was really against some mediocre teams.
Oh, EM, do me a favor, text me, bro. Because I would send a link, but we only got 1 minute and 55 seconds left on this stream because I got to basically go through a school lesson with my sons at 4:00. Got to make sure they still learning, man. So I got less than a minute. So we'll close up here though. And Phinsanity, man, like you said, man, you tonight, all right?
Wait, I have a question. Is this going to be just you, or are you having your panelists on?
I'm going to start out and I'm going to talk about the 3 quarterbacks we have. I'm going to break it down and then I'm going to drop the link for you guys.
Listen, I'm gonna let EM have all that smoke tonight because me and you are already on the same.
It better not be smoke. It's facts. I hope he don't come to argue facts. We're gonna talk about it tonight, man. But yes, man. Listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in to TD FINSTALK,
guys.
Home of the real Miami Dolphin fans. Y'all can help us out once again by hitting that like button. Thank everybody who donates. Thank you all for watching the videos. I appreciate your support. But tonight, I want y'all to tune in for the first. I'm going through an entire series. Get to know the roster. All right. Get to know who's on this roster. Don't just say, and then we got that guy, then we got that guy. Let's learn some about these guys. And tonight we're starting out, and it's going to be the quarterbacks. We want to do this before the draft so that when we do the draft, I'll do the series on all our new draft picks, what it means for the team, how it can fit in. And then after that, we do our overall team, who makes the 53-man roster coming next month. So get ready for it, guys. We have a whole month slated for you guys, but starting out tonight, first one, the quarterbacks, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh Rosen, and Jake Rutter. Man, this will be interesting. I can't wait for y'all to tune in. I love y'all. Love y'all. Thank y'all so much. Fins up, baby. Fins up.
Fins up. God bless. Stay healthy, Titty.
All right. Same to you and your family. I love y'all. Peace. We out.